When I was 19, I lost over 50% of my hair. Now you're probably looking at my hair like, wow, like she's got a lot of hair. I do, but it's not my hair. So this is a topper. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek there. So you can see there that this is a hair topper. I'll explain more about that later. You might be watching this because maybe you've been in a similar situation. So when I was 19, I went through a bit of a traumatic experience where one of my really, really close friends passed away, and it was very textbook after that in terms of after a trauma, like your body is in a like a recovery, sort of a shock mode and a recovery mode. So 3 months after his passing, I noticed after I was blow drying my hair that when it was all dry, I gathered it all together like this, and I freaked out, and it was half there. And it came as a massive shock to me because previous to this, I had like the thickest hair that you could, like hairdressers would complain when I used to go into a salon. They're like, oh, your hair is so thick, it's going to take so long to do, it's going to cost more. It was always so thick, coming out in just clumps and clumps of hair in the shower. But because I had so much of it, I just never actually noticed that how much it was shedding until the point where it was half gone. And I was just like, now what? What am I going to do? I ran to my mum as soon as I noticed that my hair was like not there, I guess. And she just looked at me, and the look in her eyes, like she knew, because she has experienced the same thing. My mum's also got really super thin hair, and she lost it all during one of her pregnancies when she had a miscarriage. And she just looked at me, and I was in disbelief. At 19 years old, how do you go from having so much hair, and I was obsessed with my hair. Like it was everything to me. It was what I don't want to say hung my sense of self-worth on, but I was really proud of my hair. The fact that it was now half there was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life to this day. And it's really difficult for you to understand how it felt unless you've been through it yourself. Like, I'm sorry, but if you have, you can say to someone, oh, it's just hair, it'll grow back, or it's just hair, it's not an important part of life. But until you've lost half of your hair, you just don't know how traumatic it is to experience it. 19 years old, you're meant to be, this is when you start going out, meeting new people, partying. But I honestly didn't want to do any of that stuff. I was obsessed with finding a cure for my hair loss. I was obsessed with looking at everyone else in my life's hairlines and why me, and why did this happen to me? Like, how come it's not happening to anyone else? Like, all my friends have really thick hair, and they were not thinking about hair loss. Like, why does someone need to think about hair loss at 19 years old? I stopped going to the gym because I didn't want to see myself in the mirrors. I stopped, and I didn't want to sweat because it always looked thinner when my hair was wet. Speaking of wet hair, I didn't want to go swimming anymore. I didn't go to friends' houses to stay over. I stopped wanting to go out places. I didn't want to meet new people. I stopped wanting to look after myself. I felt like there was no point to, live a healthy life or an active life because I just didn't feel like myself anymore. I didn't feel feminine. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel like I was worth anything, which, saying this out loud, it sounds really down and depressing, but that's just how I was at the time. I really didn't see any light at the end of this tunnel. I took a number of hair loss treatments and cures from the ages of 19 to 24 years old. When I tell you this consumed my life, this consumed my life. So these are some of the things that I tried to regrow my hair. Went to see multiple dermatologists who prescribed me minoxidil and minoxidil tablets. I never really wanted to go down that route because I knew that once I started taking minoxidil or using it topically, you'd have to use it for the rest of your life. I never really took that up, but I went to see trichologists who, gave me different lotions and potions. Nothing ever worked. I did every sort of supplement. So biotin, silica, hair, skin and nails, anything, iron supplements, anything that was linked to hair growth, I have consumed that vitamin. Lotions and potions were my jam. Onion juice, different herbal remedies, putting egg on my head. I rub rosemary oil into my scalp, and actual rosemary as well. I was making like these yogurt things. I was doing every sort of home remedy that I found on the internet, to no success. The more expensive things that I tried was a hair growth laser cap, which is a red light cap that's meant to stimulate the follicles and grow your hair back. I did that for over a year and just saw no result. I also did something called PRP, which is short for platelet-rich plasma. Basically, they take out your blood from your body and they spin it to bring the plasma or platelets, this was a while ago, to the top, and they inject that into your scalp. It's meant to stimulate hair growth. It's very painful. I did the full course of that and I saw absolutely no results. Other things that I tried was every sort of shampoo that is marketed towards hair growth, like Nioxin, a number of different brands that promoted hair growth. Nothing worked. And when I say nothing worked, absolutely nothing. The only thing that was a guaranteed was every single year I saw my hair get thinner and more see-through to my scalp. So these treatments, I was doing them from when I was 19 to when I was 24. And then after 24, I honestly had enough. Hormonal birth control when I was 21 years old. So I had already started losing my hair at 19. I know that there can be a connection between going on the pill and experiencing some sort of form of hair loss. For me, it's hard to determine exactly if this made it worse or if it was just going to stay the same. But I do remember that when I came off the pill when I was 27, I went through a massive hair shedding phase. It was more traumatic than the first one. I knew that coming off the pill could potentially trigger something called telogen effluvium, which is a temporary hair loss experience where you've maybe experienced something traumatic. So it was just coming out in clumps and clumps in the shower 3 months after I came off the pill. And this was really scary for me because my hair was already thin and now it was coming out so much every time I washed my hair that I was just petrified that I was going to be left with absolutely nothing. Luckily, a few months after that, I discovered that it was just a telogen effluvium and my hair did start to replenish. Not to the full extent, but the hairs that I lost during that time did start to grow back. So after, I guess, years and years of just hating my hair and literally like not knowing what to do with it, it was always so thin and so flat, it couldn't hold any style, I discovered hair toppers. Honestly, like ever since then, I literally just don't think about my hair anymore. I get up in the morning, I get ready and I put my hair topper on and I'm just like, as confident as I was before I started losing my hair. And honestly, it does sound cliche, but toppers literally just changed my life. It was a little bit of a weird sort of thing when I discovered toppers because not really many people were talking about them. No one was really wearing them. So it was like is that gonna look natural? And then when I got my first one, I just became instantly obsessed with having an instant result of more hair. This is better hair than I could have ever imagined. And they were just really unknown. So that's why I started just talking about my hair loss on my Instagram pages and just trying to connect and find other women who are going through the same thing. This is my topper that I clip on and it just makes me feel really confident. There's really been no cure except for clipping extra hair. If you're going through hair loss, I know exactly how you're feeling. It's very isolating. You feel very alone. So if you are someone who has maybe had a similar experience to me or something a little bit different, like, and you're feeling alone, like, just reach out. There's lots of communities online, which is what I found was the most helpful, just finding other women who are going through the same thing. And that was the one thing that also just really helped me. And I'm also here to talk to anyone if you need support.